See, y'all thought I were going to forget, didn't you? I remember this time. I remembered the last time, but it was a couple minutes into it before we before I actually remembered to, but I got it this time. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm probably going to not engage my camera. That way my bandwidth doesn't get messed up. Can you guys still hear me okay? Okay. All right, so we'll try to do a screen share here. We won't see it. Okay. Okay, can you guys see it?
Yeah. Got it.
Okay, so this is kind of the agenda. We already did the opening prayer and the prayer request, of course. I've got a few announcements that I'm going to do. Then we're going to kind of open it up to you guys for any comments that you guys have. We are going to try to keep it to right at about an hour. If we get through it in less than an hour, we're not going to belabor anything, but we will try to respect your time on that. So, and then Hawk, if you would, just go ahead and pray us out at the end. Okay, so some of the announcements that I wanted to go over with you guys tonight. The first thing that I talked about, Josh already mentioned the upcoming challenges that we have. Challenge Timothy is coming up, and we also have Warrior Elite 15 coming up. And for those of you, you know, Jesse, this is kind of especially for you, brother, since you're hopefully going to be a first-time challenger with us and Challenge Timothy. Kind of the way that we run these challenges is we have two different accountability groups. We have an accountability group for first-time challengers, and then we have an accountability group for our veteran challengers who've completed at least one SOULCON challenge, and a lot of our veterans have completed 10, 12, 15, 18 of them. So what we're going to do, we'll make sure that you get over to our first-time challenger leader, who's a guy by the name of Bill Frame. He's not on tonight because Bill's kind of got a kind of unique work schedule, so he'll catch the playback, but we'll make sure that we get your information over to him so he can get you added to the accountability group for that. And then kind of how that works is you guys will go through the challenge in one accountability group, and it's about as close digitally as you can get to going to the SOULCON Training Center if the SOULCON Training Center were a real world place. Because all the guys in that accountability group are all first-time challengers, with the exception of some veteran operators that we have in there who've been through multiple challenges. And those guys will walk you through day by day. They will take you through each of the daily devotions, the daily challenges. They will take you through all of the major emphasis items. They will make sure that your meal plans are on point, that your workouts are where they need to be. They'll make sure that you know, just any question you have, you'll have an answer for. So that's kind of how we run our first time challenger accountability. But the thing, that very first block there, our veteran operator schedule and program. I am going to be in charge of the veteran accountability group this time. Josh Andrews is going to be leading our Warrior Elite 15 fire team. And kind of what we're going to do with that veteran operator platoon this time, we're going to do something a little bit different than we've ever done before. Because so many of those veterans in that platoon have been through the challenge so many times, we're going to try a little bit different schedule. We will do some of the daily challenges, and those will be on the schedule, but we're going to try something different. And when I get that schedule completed, I'll push it out to the command team, let the command team look at it, war game it out. And then before Challenge Timothy starts for veteran operators, we will push that schedule out to you guys. Michael Duzon is on here tonight. He's going to lead a 6-week Timothy Bible study for us. We're going to do some, probably at least one YouVersion study in that. We're going to have some different physical things that we're going to be doing that are a little bit different than guys would do in a normal challenge. We're just trying to, I guess create sort of a challenge schedule that will allow our guys to not just physically, but spiritually just continue to grow and mature a little bit beyond what you get from just reading the normal SOULCON daily devotion in the book. Okay. So that's kind of what I mean by that operator schedule and program right there. We already talked about the first time challenger program. Did want to talk a little bit about team organization tonight. I put the word reorganization there. We're not really doing a reorganization, but I didn't know exactly how to word it. So I just put that word there. And for those of you who've been with us for a while, you know that the next bullet down there, fire teams, we have had, or we tried to create throughout the entire state, geographically located accountability groups where basically within a certain radius around that team, everybody that lives in that general area would go to what we were calling that accountability squad. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to do away with that term squad, because for some reason it just confuses everybody when we say that term, and we're just going to call those squads fire teams from now, because that's kind of an accepted terminology within SOULCON. So we're going to just go ahead and change those over. There's been some talk within the command team about changing out some of our current fire team leaders and bringing some new fire team leaders in. So we're going to look at doing some of that. I've already talked to about 3 of them, and they're praying over those possible appointments, and they should be getting back to me probably by the first of next week sometime about whether they're going to go ahead and come into the leadership ministry. But when those fire teams are in place, we're going to have about 10 fire teams around the state, and each and every individual will be assigned to one of those fire teams. And going into that next bullet of communication streams, I'm sure most of you guys probably over the last couple of weeks have probably just been inundated with messages. You probably have seen the same message on 2 or 3 or maybe 4 different message streams. That's because right now our communication streams aren't quite where they need to be. And once we get those fire teams formed back up, we get team leaders placed in charge of those fire teams, we get guys assigned back into the fire teams, then we're going to, I think we're just going to do it all on group. In the past, kind of what we did is we let our fire team leaders kind of choose how they would do their communication streams, and some team leaders use texting chains, and some used Facebook Messenger, and some used GroupMe, and it was kind of we were on a lot of different platforms, and I think sometimes the messages were getting lost across the various platforms that we were using. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to kind of move to GroupMe as kind of like our universal communication platform. So when those fire teams get formalized, guys get assigned into those fire team accountability groups, we're going to go ahead and form those GroupMe groups, so that what there will be is, and Jesse, this is kind of specifically for you, brother, since you're new to the team. What Team Indiana has that is kind of unique that no other SOULCON team has is we have something called the leadership ministry. And that is a bunch of locally appointed leaders that we appoint here in Team Indiana, that we think, guys that we feel are called to leadership, through the leading of the Holy Spirit. And those are those fire team leaders and certain other leaders that we put into place. And then there's a communication stream where myself or our 2 vice captains from the state can push information out to those fire team leaders. And then each one of those fire teams will have a communication stream, and they'll be able to send information out in a more unified, uniform manner than what we have right now. And so hopefully you guys won't see 2 or 3 of the same messages in different streams that you're in, because ideally you'll only be in one message stream. So hopefully it will work much better, and hopefully that will help us out with better accountability and better fellowship, and just, you know, better overall communication within those fire teams for guys in the team. So moving on to that next bullet, F2F gatherings. Jesse, what that is face-to-face gatherings. We kind of haven't had a full-blown state gathering for quite a while. I know Hawk was having some face-to-face stuff. Every GMG, he was sponsoring a face-to-face down at his church there. But I guess as an overall state, we haven't had a face-to-face in quite some time. And some of the reason for that, guys, is just the economy being for what it is right now. You know, when you're a guy like Josh Andrews and has a truck that gets like 5 miles to the gallon, it's not too economical to drive, you know, from Indianapolis to South Bend, you know. And what we try to do is on those face-to-faces, we try to, you know, have one in the north, and then we'll try to have one in the south, and maybe we'll try to have one in Indianapolis. And we try to kind of spread them around the state. But, you know, until the economy improves a little bit, we may not look at having too many state level face-to-face. So once we get our fire teams more formalized and get those geographically in place, we might try to start looking at having more just fire team face-to-faces, so that, you know, guys don't have to make those long trips and you know, really, you know, financially get into their pockets so much, and things along those lines. So, but, you know, hopefully in the next little bit, the economy may pick up a little bit, and we'll be able to start having some state face-to-faces again like we did in 2021. Okay, next item is a weekly team call. We have been kind of kicking this around at the command level. I know there are a few states right now, a few state teams that are having a lot of success with weekly team calls. Missouri, Virginia, Texas are the 3 that just really come to mind. And you know, they've been using those team calls effectively to, you know, help assist in fellowship and accountability, and just draw guys closer together as a team. So I guess what I wanted to say about that, we just had a command team call here about a week and a half ago, and we kind of made the decision at some point here in the very near future, we will be pushing out some type of survey to all the guys in the team, and we'll ask certain things like, you know, what's the best day for you? What's the best time for you? Some different things like that. And then, you know, that poll will be open for a certain amount of time, and then we'll go ahead and take all the, you know, the data from that poll, and we'll roll that up and kind of analyze it. And then whatever we feel is best for the majority of the team, we'll probably go ahead and try to initiate those weekly team calls at that point. And that would just be a team call that's right here on Zoom. And you know, we're still kind of war gaming a agenda and an overall strategy for that, and what that looks like, and that might even be part of the survey too. You know, we may even ask you guys, well, what would you like to see on a team call? Because, you know, I like to get, you know, buy-in from you guys too, because everything that we do, these team calls, these face-to-faces, all these kind of things, I mean, all these things we do is to serve you guys within Team Indiana. So I like to hear from you guys what you think about different things, and just try to make a program that will try and fit everyone as well as we can, and just increase our discipleship efforts and fellowship, and accountability and those different things. So that's pretty much it on the team call. So expect to see something coming out on that probably within a couple weeks or so, some type of survey. And then if you guys can just complete that survey and just get it back to us, that would be good. Then moving on to that next bullet right there, the Indiana Youth Council. I've talked with the command team and just got a little bit of feedback from them about starting a possible youth council. We've got a couple of guys within Team Indiana that are youth ministry, I don't know what we want to say. They deal with the youth in ministry related functions, and they've been doing that for a good number of years. And we're hoping to recruit a couple of those guys and maybe have them be facilitators. But what we really want to do with that program is, and you know, Michael Duzon, I know you've been involved in this, and you know, with the young Gaborum, and I think Josh, I think you said you're going to start it with your son, the young Gaborum. But there's two youth programs within SOULCON. There's the young Gaborum program, and that is for sons and daughters from, I think, 7 to 12. And then the Young Warrior program, which is a program that they just brought into being about 3 or 4 months ago, that is for primarily right now just sons that are from 13 to 17. And then of course when those young men roll over to 18, then they just join us in the regular SOULCON unit. But it was said on not just this commander's call that I was on before I got on here, but the commander's call before that, the captain of the youth program right now is writing a Young Warrior program for daughters. So that is probably should be coming out within 3, 4, maybe 6 months. We should see a Young Warrior for daughters program come out. But what we're kind of thinking about doing on our Team Indiana Youth Council is just breaking it down by those 2 different age categories, and then having a adult facilitator for both one of those programs. And then we got a couple high speed, low drag young men within Team Indiana that have been doing some things for us. And most likely we'll ask them to be our first team captain and team vice captain of that youth council. And then they will go ahead and probably lead that youth council for about a year until they turn 18. And then we will go ahead and look for another captain and vice captain at that point. But that is probably something that's maybe six to 8 months down the road, because we've got to do some program planning on that. We've got to get some people in place and make sure that we've got a few checks and balances in that system. But that is coming. So for you folks that have younger kids that you want to get involved, I mean, you can still get them involved in the programs now and in the challenges now, but we will just have a more I guess state-centric program here in the near future. So just be looking for that. And then the last bullet there, the SOULCON Team Indiana C4 Team Indiana coordination and relationship. So Jesse, kind of for you, I think everybody else on here knows what C4 is. C4 is kind of the women's equivalent to SOULCON. So it is a program that some wives of SOULCON guys came up with, and basically they wrote a challenge book that is just like the SOULCON challenge book, very similar. It has daily devotions, it has daily challenges. And the nice thing about the C4 challenge and the SOULCON challenge is a wife and a husband can do it day by day, and they can pace the challenge together. And a lot of the daily challenges in the SOULCON challenge and in the C4 challenge line up perfectly. So on the day, say for example, when we're doing max push-ups in the SOULCON challenge, well, they're doing max push-ups the same day in the C4 challenge. So that way a husband and wife can kind of be there and motivate and you know, just be there with one another to encourage one another. And we have finally recruited a really phenomenal lady who I believe probably will rise to be our first team captain for C4 Team Indiana. She is a former women's boxing coach, and she's got a lot of experience in, you know, physical training and physical therapy, nutrition, and different things like that. And she is actually going to be leading a C4 challenge while we are going through SOULCON Timothy. So if anybody's got wives, sisters, daughters, anybody out there who wants to be part of that, just let me know and I'll get them connected with Coach Barb, and they can walk through that. They're going to have an accountability group that is kind of similar to the ones that we run in SOULCON. So it's going to be kind of more state centric versus just kind of the way the other C4 teams run things, where they just kind of run everything just kind of from more of a national level. We're actually going to have that state centric accountability. So if anybody is interested in that, just let me know. And that is something that I see probably materializing, that being C4 Team Indiana. That's something I see probably materializing maybe after this challenge, or maybe in the next challenge. So we could see a C4 Team Indiana maybe by the end of this year or the first of next year. And that will just be a really good thing, because C4 will support us and we will support C4. And I just see that being a good thing in the long run. And, you know, with the Indiana Youth Council, I see within 2023, and this might be a grand vision, this might be a grand plan, but I kind of see us having a full family program. Okay, so it's not, well, you know, dad's going to go do his GMG and the kids aren't going to have anything to do and mom's not going to have anything to do. No, it won't be like that, because mom will have her C4 thing to do. The kids will have something meaningful to do with the youth council, and then dad will be able to come and do his SOULCON stuff, all basically on the same day. And I just see that being a win-win across the board for us, because that way mom and dad can encourage one another, and you know, hopefully the kids can encourage mom and dad, and mom and dad can encourage the kids. And you know, if that program takes off like I kind of have envisioned it, like I feel that the Lord is leading, I think that would be a really, really great thing for us across the board in Indiana. So that's really all I had agenda wise. So let me go ahead and open it up just for general comments, or if you guys had any questions on any of the agenda items that I put out, I'm just going to go ahead and give the floor to you team members. And I get, you know, Hawk and Josh, if you guys got anything you want to add to any of that, go ahead. Now's okay too.
No, I'm good. You said a lot of good stuff there.
I noticed you mentioned something about the Young Gaborum's girls. Isn't there already like a curriculum or a program out there for that?
Yeah, for young Gaborum, for that 7 to 12-year-old, that is basically just one unified program. But primarily the Young Warrior, which is what they just brought out 3 or 4 months ago, that is right now, as that program is, it's just for sons.
Oh, I haven't dived into that one yet. I haven't even looked into that one. What's the age? Like, what's the age recommendation for that one?
It is 13 to 17.
Okay. Yeah, I need to look into that because my son, I mean, he's 12, but he's going to 7th grade. So I mean, that would be perfect.
Okay. And what they did on that is if you go into the bookstore, I haven't looked lately. They were supposed to be printing off some of those young warrior manuals, but up to a certain point, they only had it in electronic format. But some of the proceeds that they made during the Kaysen annual memorial run this year, Jason Hughes donated back to Gaborum, and they're using, I forget what it is, $2,000 or $3,000, whatever the donation was, and they're going to actually print some of those manuals too. So probably here in the near future, you'll be able to order it in print. But right now you can order the Young Warrior Manual in electronic format. I know my boys, we got one for each of them, and they've done the first 2 Young Warrior challenges because there've only been 2 Young Warrior challenges so far. And then what they do with that Young Warrior is basically and I guess Jesse, this would be for you again, being our only new guy here. So basically every 10 weeks we do a SOULCON challenge. So we do a 42-day, 6-week challenge, and then we have a 4-week period that we call the gap. And that's the 4-week period in between SOULCON challenges. And how it works is every 10 weeks we run a regular SOULCON challenge. But every other challenge, we run our 2nd and 3rd tier challenges. That 2nd tier challenge is called Warrior Elite, and the 3rd tier challenge is called Operator. So basically, every other SOULCON challenge, we will run a Warrior Elite, and then every other SOULCON challenge, we'll run a Operator challenge. And basically, every time we run an Operator challenge, they're trying to run a Young Warrior challenge in conjunction with that. So basically every other challenge, there will be a Young Warrior challenge. So that's kind of the cycle that's on right now. Anybody else? No questions, Jesse, being the new guy. Okay. Well, brother, hey, look, I mean, SOULCON, especially when you're new, can be kind of overwhelming because there is just so much terminology, and there is so much, like, you can go on that Gaborum app and you can sit on the Gaborum app for like hours and hours and go through folders and folders and folders, and there's just so much information on that app. And the thing is, I mean, a lot of it's really good, but sometimes if you have a question, like I can tell you, there are some amazing workouts on that app, but if you don't know where to find them, just ask somebody. Ask any of these guys you see on here, Michael, Josh, Hawk, anybody. Those guys can answer your question. I can answer your question. Ultimately, we'll get you into a fire team, and you'll have, some guys that will circle around you. And a lot of those guys, will be veterans, and some of those guys will be able to answer your question. And it'll come, man. It's a learning curve. I mean, I remember when I first started doing SOULCON, and I mean, I had been in the Army for 25 years, so I was used to acronyms and abbreviations and this and that and everything else. And it was even a little bit of a learning curve for me when I came in. And it's just like anything else in the world, brother. Just hang with it, and you'll learn it. So, and really hope we can get you registered for Challenge Timothy coming up and get you through that. And then kind of after you graduate from that course, brother, I mean, you'll have a greater understanding of what we mean by the SOULCON lifestyle, and how all these other guys you're seeing on this screen, how we live our lives every day, and just kind of how we do things. And I think it'll all make a little bit more sense to you. I know I didn't really plug in to the benefits of this organization, I think probably until about my second or third challenge. Because I know I did SOULCON Challenge Kilo way back ago. And, you know, I went through that challenge, and I'll be honest with you, I think I checked every single block there was. I did my push-ups every day. I did my Lord's Prayer every day. I drank my water every day. I did this, I did that. But the problem is I was more focused on checking blocks than I was on being part of the fellowship and being part of the brotherhood. And I think that's probably, you know, some of these other guys on here might echo that, you know, and the important part to this brotherhood, man, is just plug in, you know, and you've already done a great job with that. You know, I see you on the app all the time. You're making comments and you're trying to encourage people, and that's great, brother. And that's exactly what we want to see guys do. So, all right. Anybody got anything else? All right, I'm gonna take that as a no. All right, well, we got about 15 more minutes, but again, like I say, we're not gonna belabor it out. So if nobody has anything else, Hawk, if you want to pray us out, brother, if anybody's got any final prayer requests or anything that you thought of during the call, just go ahead and throw those up, and then Hawk, just pray us out, bro.
All right. Thanks, guys, for being here again and for the announcements there, Michael. Just much appreciated. If anyone has any other prayer requests before I go ahead and close this out, go ahead and make those known. If not, I'll go ahead and close this out. All right. Dear Heavenly Father, thanks so much for this meeting this evening and for Michael hosting it. And we just much appreciate that. And we just pray for the men that are here and the ones that are not here, for Timothy coming up and Warrior Elite 15, that it's another step forward to learning more what the SOULCON way is in life, whether they're in the challenge or during the gap, but it's an everyday lifestyle that all of us need to continue to adopt more and more through each challenge and whatever that means for that individual. So thank you, God, for tonight. Thank you for Team Indiana and just this ministry that so many men need to have in this world. It's a brotherhood that has each other's back and really lives by that standard. And with that said, we just thank you so much for your son, Jesus. In his name we pray. Amen.
All right, guys. Thanks for praying us out, Hawk. And we'll be seeing you guys on the app. We'll be seeing you guys on GroupMe, and just looking forward to this challenge, guys. So with that, much love, many blessings. To God alone be the glory.
All right. Thanks.
Hey,
Bye.
fellas.
Bye.
Later, guys.